All right, let's see how this works out. So I'm charging my EV, which finally arrived after several months, through the Emporia smart charger. And one of the features of this Emporia is that it has demand charge. Our demand charge is that it's supposed to be able to control how much power we pull from the grid to charge the battery in the EV. Now, because I have a hybrid inverter that actually has its own battery, what's supposed to happen is that as the charge controller for the EV pulls power, it's going to be create a demand on the grid, and then the battery in the hybrid is supposed to take over and counteract that. And I think that is what's happening right now. Because if you look at the net usage, which is this item right here, it's barely at 1%, but the garage, which is the EV charger, is pulling almost 2.9 kilowatts, and total usage is at 3 kilowatts. So you have to say, where is that power coming from? Now, 8 and 7 is actually where the solar is installed, and you'll be like, well, there's no balance of power coming from the solar. That's because of how the house is wired. Because both the EV charger and the hybrid inverter is actually connected on a sub panel, and where the 8 and 7 CTs that measures the power coming from the solar is actually in the main panel. So this might be a minor problem when it comes to this app here as to how it measures the power. So it's basically saying that the solar panel or the hybrid inverter is doing absolutely nothing, but obviously there's just about shy of 3 kilowatts of power going into the car. So let's see if I can bring that up in the hybrid inverter app. All right. Well, it's 5 minutes out of date. Let's try. There you go. Now that it's updated, you can see what's happening. The grid is only pulling 14 watts. 3.45 is coming from the battery to go over to handle all the home loads. Now, how did I configure the charge controller for the EV to do this? Well, let's go back into the app. And when you bring up the menu, I already have the EV charger set up, so I can just click that, hit the garage, and you see it's set to demand, which is this mountain peak thing here, and I set it to try and pull just shy of 100 watts from the grid. So when it creates that 100 watt demand from the grid, the inverter sees it and says, hey, you're not supposed to take any power from the grid, and then it automatically ramps up until we get to an equilibrium. And that equilibrium, based on how much current I can pull from my battery, is 13 amps. That's not bad at all. That's working pretty well with the hybrid inverter. Now, I think I'm pretty chuffed about how this is working. And as you can see now, if I had solar, it would have supplemented the battery power to get me more power into the vehicle. But yeah, that is looking pretty well. It wasn't really too difficult to configure. I think the most important thing on installation is to respect the current CTs, which I use to measure the power on the lines. Make sure you get those directions right. And from that, it was a simple process, just following through the app. Now, if I wanted to limit just how fast I can charge, let's say, I wonder if there's a way to edit the charge rate. Let's see what we can do. There we go. Look at that. Charge rate is set to 13 amps, but I wonder, no, that's being controlled by the demands. If I change this, it might screw up everything. But if I wanted to limit just how much the vehicle can charge at any given time, I suspect I would have to go to the main setup and change the rating of the breaker to something lower. To like maybe like let's say if I don't want to charge more than 20 amps, I'd have to set it up to tell it that it has a 20 amp breaker, even though it doesn't. That way the demand would only go up to 20 amps and no more, so less it would prevent the vehicle from draining down the house battery. And if that does happen, the hybrid inverter will automatically take power from the grid, and because that is higher than the 100 watts or the 0.1 kilowatts, then I would suspect that the EV charger at that point would actually shut down. Overall, it's been an excellent process and I'm very happy with it.